Football has evolved. False nines, inverted fullbacks, box-to-box midfielders. Yet somehow, the number 10 refuses to die. The position of a playmaker and the home of football's ultimate genius. But not all 10s are created equal. These are the 7 levels of a number 10. At level 1 is Mr. 007 himself. Except he's now taken it to 0011. Depends on when you are watching this. Before arriving at Liverpool for a whopping 140 million, Florian Wirtz was a Bundesliga wizard. He played like a young professor who could solve a well-mastered defense with a decisive pass. 8 goals, 12 assists in the league during their unbeaten campaign. And whenever he plays for Germany, he does this.
Touch, take aim, and then he finds the top left-hand corner with a belter. The Bayern fierce.
And he even caps it off with assists.
Been absolutely electric. He bends the ball in and Sané into the roof of the net.
Wirtz is the purest version of the receive, scan, solve creator, something similar to AboveTheGoal. But in England, Wirtz is yet to click, and that's why he's at level 1. Not because he lacks talent, but because the style that made him irresistible at Leverkusen hasn't translated to England. His strengths are subtle: space interpretation, tempo control, silent movement between the lines, and the kind of passing that looks simple only because he reads everyone else. But when your first 11 games produce no goals and assists, people start talking about your end product. He's had a few flashes of brilliance, but a good number 10 is able to produce straight away. So if you cost that much of a transfer fee, best believe your output should absolutely be Messi-esque. This next guy wasn't a playmaker to begin with, but the impact he's had in the number 10 role is beyond imaginable. The year is 2021 and you're a Manchester United fan. Would you believe if anyone told you Scott McTominay could do this? Or this?
Politano delivers. McTominay!
The Scotsman is what you call an accidental number 10, one who also doesn't need to dictate the tempo. He began playing as a central defender for his country, even though he was a midfielder, used by Manchester United either as a defensive mid, but never a playmaker. But right now McTominay is Napoli's unorthodox attacker.
McTominay going for goal! That's the Scot of last season!
Not because he's elegant, not because he's technical, but because he actually delivers. McTominay's transformation was almost overnight. Don't get me wrong, he always had his moments at United, and those last minute where did that come from occasions.
Gets the ball in somehow, goes for Delo, pushed out only as far as McTominay, drilled towards goal. Maguire nodded across, McTominay!
But what he's done for Napoli and Scotland is something none of us genuinely understand. Just like how you are watching this and haven't subscribed is something we won't understand too. McTominay is a different beast today. For Napoli alone, he has 17 goals and 7 assists in 50 appearances, and even picked up a Serie A's Player of the Year. What's more, he also ranked 18th on the Ballon d'Or, something I'm sure no one had on their bingo card. While Wirtz paints ideas, McTominay punches results into the scoreboard. He's a goal threat from that zone, and he's level 2 because he's simple and effective. But as good as he is right now, he's nowhere near this player. So good his manager can afford to drop him deeper and still produce number 10 moments. Bruno is a strange kind of number 10. He's both the problem and the solution. He'll misplace a pass so wild it leaves you speechless. Then minutes later he'll drop a ball so perfect it looks like VAR drew a line for him. But there's no doubt as to how good Bruno is. His numbers are ridiculous and his work rate is insane. And this is where the Rooney comparison enters. Because just like the Man United legend, Bruno was too good to be left in one position. Rooney started playing as a 10, then ended up everywhere. Winger, striker, midfielder, sometimes fullback if he felt like doing community service. Bruno is a cut from the same cloth. He's a 10 whose talent is too good to be contained by a number. At Sporting, he was the classic creator. At United, he became the playmaker, presser, ball winner, and even crisis manager.
And now they can first hand.
There's a reason managers keep dragging him deeper. He sees the game 2 passes earlier than everyone else. He creates more chances than any other player in Europe year after year. He's built like a playmaker, runs like an 8, thinks like a 9, and he makes it all effortless. But if you're wondering why he's only level 3, the simple answer is the players above him will never be asked to play outside their speciality role. Because they are so good, they even have names for such playmakers. Level 4 belongs to the enganche, the classic South American idea of the hook, the player who connects the midfield to the attack without running around like a madman or pressing like his life depends on it. This is the level reserved for the pure thinkers, and the man credited for inventing this role was Juan Roman Riquelme. Riquelme was the last great exponent of this classical role. His game was defined by a magnificent, almost defiant slowness. He set the blueprint for more modern-day enganche like Mesut Ozil and Modric. Let's start with Ozil, the man who saw passes that the stadium cameras weren't even recording. He didn't dribble past 5 players, he deleted them from the equation.
And there's no flag this time, and Ozil with a chance to win it. It's Mesut.
In his prime, he wasn't just making assists, he was inventing them out of nowhere. Then you have Luka Modric, who almost doesn't feel human in this category. He's an enganche version 2.0, light on the ball, impossible to press, and capable of turning a midfield into a living organism. Just look at this ridiculous assist. These are attacking players who didn't need pace or power, they needed little time to create magic, and somehow they always had more of it than everyone else. So why are they level 4 and not higher? Because the man waiting at level 5 took everything the enganche stood for and sprinted straight through defenses with it. Stepping up to level 5, we introduce the Trequartista. This is where artistry meets lethal efficiency. The Trequartista is a playmaker who also happens to be a devastating runner and finisher. And the original face of this role was none other than Francesco Totti. The Italian made it famous in Rome. But the more familiar faces in our era are defined by Kaká and Wayne Rooney. Before that, let's define it properly, the player operating in the final quarter of the pitch. The Trequartista is the Italian term for 3 quarters, the player operating in the final quarter of the pitch. The man who doesn't just create chances, he creates problems. And nobody embodied that better than Kaká. He's the reason defenders had trust issues in 2007. He took Manchester United's prime defence out and scattered them like a stack of dominoes.
Referee, I'm not so sure about that. Here's Kaká. He's seen off Fletcher. He's seen off Ainsley. He's still going. It's wonderful from Kaká.
Kaká was the Trequartista in its purest, deadliest form. Long stride, terrifying acceleration, and that glide, the ability to get past 3 players without even looking like he changed speed. He was elegant, with a knife hidden inside. But the scarier version, the unexpected one, was Wayne Rooney. He wasn't a dribbler, he wasn't flashy, he wasn't even graceful like Kaká, but he had everything a Trequartista required. The vision of a 10, the violence of a 9, the work rate of an 8. Rooney played every role of it in his entire career and looked like a natural in all of them. Level 5 represents a level where playmaking becomes unstoppable, but ever met a player who is both?
De Bruyne!
He's found some space and he's found the net as
1-0 to Manchester City.
Level 6 is the hybrid of both level 4 and 5. This is the level of a player who blends both philosophies, the mind of an enganche with the chaos engine of a trequartista, and the face of that evolution is Kevin De Bruyne. Because KDB isn't a number 10, he's all the number 10s combined. He creates like Ozil, he dictates like Modric, he breaks defensive lines like Kaká, scores like Rooney, and he hits passes that look like he temporarily hacked the match engine. But here's what makes him level 6. He's the first midfielder since the early 2000s who can play anywhere across the attacking channels and still be the best creator on the pitch. He doesn't need spaces, he manufactures them. He forces the game to follow his tempo. You know that feeling when you're watching City and everything looks calm, and then suddenly one impossible pass slices an entire defense open? That's the trequartista instinct. But the way he always knows exactly when the game needs that moment, that's the enganche brain. And that makes him the perfect fusion of the two schools. But let's be clear, this level is not about dribbling, flair, or even highlight reels. It's about control. It's about bending football to your will. It's about doing the job of 3 players. But as elite as KDB is, no one will argue in the comment section about level 7. Let's be honest, this level doesn't need any explanation, because when you reach Lionel Messi, you stop analyzing football and you start accepting reality. You want the enganche? Messi dropping deep and receiving from the centre-backs and dictating tempo like Riquelme. Except he's faster, more agile, and a better dribbler. You want the trequartista? Messi scoring 91 goals in a calendar year, while also being Barcelona's primary creator. You want the modern complete 10 like De Bruyne? Messi has more assists than anyone in football history, while also having more goals than most pure strikers. His playmaking is supernatural. The pass to Jordi Alba that he's done 1,000 times, the one where he doesn't even look, just knows Alba is making the run. The superlatives for Messi never runs out. Messi is at the level where comparisons become meaningless because nobody has ever combined every aspect of playmaking the way Messi has. So at level 7, there's no debate, just Messi. He is the final boss. He is the undisputed king of the number 10.